Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Serious Strategy Gamer, and we are playing Hearts of Iron 4, playing as the Empire of Japan in the new Man the Guns expansion. We have landed in the US, and we've just made one very extremely good advancement down here. We have isolated the city of Tijuana, so that is an enormous benefit to us. Still, we are struggling a lot. The Americans do have about 300 to 400 divisions in the continental United States. Mexico probably has another 100 or so divisions. Will be maybe a little bit less by now. Still, it is extremely difficult to break through the American forces. It is really quite a challenge, and we are suffering from the low supply situation. We are trying to fix that by repairing some of the infrastructure, but it's going to take a while. We've also built up quite a bit the ports at LA and San Francisco, in addition to the naval base at San Diego that was there before. So that's great. I did set up a couple of new attack missions over here just for our divisions to gather up some experience in that regard, and that should hopefully be carrying us a little bit down here into Nevada, Arizona, and most importantly California itself. So hopefully that's going to be alright. I've also asked our Marines to prepare an invasion of these various Caribbean islands, and hopefully that will allow us to tackle the Americans a little bit stronger. I do want to do one more thing, and that is I do want to take this torpedo fleet up here, which does include the 1st Heavy Scout Force, and I do want to move it somewhere a little bit differently. So I don't want you to be guarding any of these areas. Can I remove any of that? So yeah, I think all of you should be done now. And what we're going to do is we're going to ask you to patrol the Western Mediterranean Sea. And the reason for that is we haven't seen the American forces, or indeed British forces, in a while. And I do suspect that they are somewhere in the Mediterranean. Either around here at Ibiza, or they might be hanging out in Cyprus. So I think a lot of their troops are there, or a lot of ships are there. They've been trapped over here ever since nationalist Spain took over Gibraltar, and the Germans did advance into Alexandria from the south. So let's see whether we do find them there. We do have a couple of other missions up here in the Central Atlantic, specifically with our convoy hunting submarines, our mine layers, and some of our other missions. Who are you? And why are you down here? You should not be down here. I would like you to patrol over here, because we do have another mission, and that is we will be sending up the Kido Butai, our 1st and heavy carrier forces, with our 4 carriers. It is coming towards over here in the western seaboard, and the reason for that is we are struggling to provide enough air superiority over the west coast, and that is why we're bringing in our ships, to maybe provide a little bit of cover from offshore. One more thing that I do want to do is I want to take all of these naval bomber squadrons, and we're going to send these guys back to Japan. The reason for that again is if we are to provide close air cover, we might as well, let's bring you over here, we might as well take these carrier close air support guys and bring it over towards the Kido Butai. So you'll be rebasing over here. That's going to take about a week, but nevertheless that should be okay, so that we have some better air cover. Other than that, we are waiting a little while. I do want to push out here into this pit of California, simply because I think it would be great if we were to get a little bit more of this area under our control, so that ultimately the ability of the Americans to let's try to break in here. Let's try to make a little bit of push right into this part of Arizona. It is mountainous terrain, but it's going to be okay. If we can capture this and maybe capture this. I know these do not order each other. So you know what? Let's actually try to take this part, because we are taking this, we are taking that, and ultimately we might be attacking it here as well. So that might actually be okay, and that does tell me that if I do take, let's say you two over here and into here, that might be okay. Good. You'll be coming in over here, and that's going to be alright. So let's restart the clock over here. We are of course on a new patch, and that should be rather interesting. So that's 8 American divisions up here. That's quite a bit. How about you? Can you try to attack over here? I'm just curious. Will it do us any good? Oh, apparently we do have unassigned divisions as well. Okay, some more Marines. That is nice to see. We will assign you to the 2nd Special Naval Landing Forces, I believe. And that should be okay. And you will be part of the front line in Central America. This is a lot of jungle terrain, so I think that's generally a good idea. You know what, you might as well do that. And that does mean we can take about 2 of you guys. Let's take these 2 and assign them to a new group. The 2nd Fast Army I think is okay. That is hanging out around here anyway, I believe. So yeah, let's bring it down there. Right. In other news, we have developed, or we have built up a little bit of a stockpile of anti-air guns. And I think with the air battles that are raging here, you can see that over the last month, we have been bombed 550 times. So what I want to do is I want to bring up a couple of new anti-tank guns. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our line infantry anti-tank, we're going to edit it, we're going to duplicate it. And we're going to call that duplicate line infantry AA. And these guys will change their support anti-tank weapons against anti-air weapons. The main thing that will happen is that they are getting a better AA attack, which I think is good. They are losing some of their piercing value, but I do actually think that with 35 piercing we will be fine. That should still be good. It will cost us a little bit of anti-air equipment, but you know what, that's fine. Let's also pick another symbol for you, and I think we could take this one. It vaguely reminds me of the NATO AA symbol, so I think that's going to be okay. Good. Otherwise, it's a fairly normal division, a little bit more supply usage, roughly unchanged stats in all other regards. Really only piercing, heart attack, and AA changes. So that's fine. Right now, of course, we don't have any divisions of that makeup, but what we could do is, let's say, exchange you, change division template here, and apply the AA template. So we will need a little bit more infantry equipment, really. I think that's just what we have been using so far already. So that's pretty okay. You as well might be changing up over here. Let's change that template. It's going to cost us a little bit of experience, but ultimately it's not that much. So you know what, it's going to be okay. Good. So that's 3 in that group. Let's take a look down here on the... No, not you. I think I wanted you. So yeah, we want to change the the AT guns against AA guns, basically. Right, and let's do that with one more over here. And there we go. Right. Is that the right time again? Right, let's start an attack into here, because I want to know how that looks. 4 divisions, you know, that looks much more promising. Let's actually stop. Okay, let's bring everyone in at the same time. There we go, 80 width. We are doing okay. It's not great, but it's okay. You know what, you can all try to attack into there, because over here, if we were to capture this terrain, that would actually be extremely lovely and very good for us. Right, you guys, could you come to San Diego as quickly as possible? And I think you guys should split up half-half, so that we have more attack vectors on Tijuana itself. You might join that attack, and you know what, we will bring in one of you who has relatively high organization into this battle as well. 120 width, that does actually allow us to bring another guy into here. And hopefully all of these guys will join fairly quickly. There we go. And that will allow us to push a little bit more strongly against these forces. We are losing our first forces as well, due to the high organizational losses that we are taking over here. But all in all, I think we are okay. We're also advancing into this area, and that too should be rather nice. Let's take a look at the naval side of things. So you have still got your naval bombers, and that's okay. Right, what else have we got? Ooh, some strikes down here on a light cruiser. And it does, the USS Amsterdam, and it does appear like there is a carrier down here as well, and that's pretty cool. We are being attacked over here. Yeah, still, we are dealing so much damage on them. Like 600, 700. That's pretty good. I do like that fight. We're also being attacked over here. We could counterattack and hope to capture this terrain. Let's try to do so at any rate. 60%? Yeah, we are even doing a little bit more damage than they are, and they have at least 2 units, which are extremely low on organization, so that would be rather nice for us, wouldn't it? Let's also take 3 divisions over here and also advance into there. Try to support this attack from as many vectors as possible, and that hopefully will be okay. We do have an unread naval results where we have lost a submarine against a couple of US destroyers and light cruisers over in this terrain. Okay, that's interesting. Do we have anyone over here? We have a couple of convoy raiders, we have a couple of patrol craft, but they might be taking a while until they get there, so that unfortunately will, yeah, just take a while. Good. Other than that, we are taking into this area up here still. And we are doing a lot of damage, so hopefully we might be doing alright if we continue this push somewhat. Okay, you know what, let's bring you in over here, and then we're gonna take the AA gun into there. You guys are all more or less fine. I do have a couple of green divisions still on this front. Let's bring them on the other one. I think I just did not want to reassign them before they got over there. Are you advancing? You are, that's great. So let's bring all of you over there, and that should be pretty cool. One division here. No. Let's keep very clean front lines to the degree that is possible at all. Right, I think we can try. Okay, you really should be getting over there, then we do have a couple of attack vectors. Well, you know what, we can borrow a unit from another army. Let's just try to make a probing attack here against Tijuana. We can see that they have quite a bit of combat with, and some of them are really good, but some of them aren't, and it might be extremely nice to just defeat a couple of their divisions. They do have 11 in total, and at least this Mexican division here might drop quickly, and there we go, it has indeed ceased to operate, so that's good to see. And all in all, that should allow us to keep our front line somewhat more stable. Right, okay, you guys. Except you, who's really got low organization, you don't either, so you 3 should be fine, and we support you with the anti-tank. And hopefully deal more damage this time around. Yeah, we're clearly not doing more damage against them than they are against us. But it still might be okay. Okay, this attack with our cavalry division clearly isn't going all too well, but that is also because it's a very light push. Now this looks much better, so I think that might be okay. Good stuff. I think we can also change out from construction engineering into repairing a little bit. Construction repair, I think that would be good. Both to really change up things for our for our repair of the infrastructure and all of these other things. Good. So we do have the fighters. Let's pick them, and let's ask you to be at least on interception duty during the day over the west coast. I think you'll be fairly bad at that because you are lacking range to sufficiently cover the area, but other than that we might be okay over here. And the naval bombers will not ask to do anything, of course, but soon we might do otherwise. 120, so that's interesting. If we were to kick out a couple of their divisions, that would do wonders. We're being counterattacked over here, and that's interesting, so let's try to push against them on this flank. We are doing an enormous amount of damage here, but so are they. And here in Tijuana, things are looking good. I mean, they started with 11, now they are down to 7 divisions. Our divisions are dropping in their organization though, so we might have to order a temporary lull in these attacks, at least for a second. Okay, you guys actually have all stopped, so that even decreases our attack vectors. But still, we did manage to do some things. Killed a couple of convoys, so that's good to see, although I think it was mostly Americans. And we are in a fight, so there are light cruisers over here. We will need to deal with these guys at some point. Still, they are losing convoys, and that's the main importance for us. No one has lost over here, but are we doing enough? No, I don't think. I think we should definitely stop this attack, because it's not getting anywhere. The infrastructure and all of that down there is really quite horrible. Right, and here we are clearly not doing enough damage either. And I think you had to stop your attack there as well, so that's unfortunate. But I still think we'll be doing fine if we do push a little bit more strongly down here. This is very much our focus area for now. By the way, shouldn't we see these other guys over here now? Yes, we do. So let's quickly rearrange these guys a little bit. So 40 is fine, 40 is fine. You'll need to go down here to Agaki though. You'll need to come to Tsuju, and you to Hasho. Right, fantastic. And these naval bombers are retreating, and they'll be gone the next day, so that's good. Okay, so let's ask these guys to bomb and render close air support on the east coast, and hope that that is gonna do something. You two on the east coast, close air support. And you know what, all of you, please do that during the day only. Good. They'll not be able to cover much of the area, but you know what, let's try to do so anyway. Okay, so we have advanced into this bit of terrain. It's all mountainous terrain, or nearly all of it is mountainous terrain, so it's extremely difficult for us to push here, but still I do believe we should be able to take them out at some point. 7 divisions on their side, all in a fight, and rapidly losing organization, so we should see that number coming down fairly quickly. There we go, 6, 5, and the more they lose, the more concentrated our fire gets, and there we go. So, that's pretty good. Tijuana taken. So I think what I would really like you to do, where are you actually, this guy, try to attack up there. At least try. We might support this attack over here. 5 reserves, but they have very little organization, so you know what, we might just be able to take this out. 160 combat width, and we are doing an enormous amount of damage. They even have trouble reinforcing that quickly. Yeah, fairly good result. Pretty good for us, actually. So, yeah, I'm happy about that. You guys can actually rest up. You'll be advancing into there, so that's okay. Down here, then. This really is what we do need to take if we want to have any chance of repairing the infrastructure in California. So let's try to push against all of these places at the same time. One of you should attack into here. Okay, that is fairly decisive result. Let's bring in our motorized equipment as well. Whereas over here it doesn't seem to be going quite as well. Still, we are doing an enormous amount of damage. Yeah, we are doing much more damage than they are, so I'm surprised that they don't drop quicker. More unread naval results. Convoy. How are our guys doing? Fairly okay so far. And these patrols? You're still moving to the Eastern region, yeah? How's our patrol over here looking? Do we have anyone over here yet? Oh, you weren't assigned anything. Okay, but I did assign you to that area. Okay, so the torpedo cruisers are going to patrol, and you're going to be engaging at high risk. The heavy scout force we are going to bring into Gibraltar. Or we can't, but we can bring you in over there, and we're going to ask you to be a strike force, so you're going to sail out towards any particular hostile areas, and the torpedo boats are going to be on the patrol pattern. Good. There we go. Fine. How do we look in terms of the air situation over here now? So over the last couple of days we were being bombed enormously, but we did shoot down a lot of enemy bombers, and that might have something to do with our increased air presence. Anti-air guns. Supports were mainly lost in air battle. Bombers were mainly shot down by AA. Interesting result. Oh, they even bombed our buildings, so it might have been static AA that did that. Interesting. Over here we are still doing more damage, but they are kicking our divisions out of battle, so let's try to bring in more guys over here to continue dealing damage, and there we go. We're actually dealing damage to them quicker than they were able to deal damage to us. We should also briefly check on Tijuana. Yucatan and Nate, I don't care about. California I do. And Baja California I do. So these are things that need some repair. It's going to happen never, it tells us. Which is of course not quite as great as I would have hoped to. Okay. Still, that does leave this entire army, the entire 2nd Manchu army over here. What are we going to do with you? I think what we could try to is push down into Mexico with you guys. So you're going to get a new front line. It's going to be simply this area, and we are going to ask you to capture at the very least this region, so with this harbor and this area up there. And then what we can do is with Green Army go to edit mode and shorten the front line a little bit so that you have a clearer profile there, and that should be okay. So you're coming over there, you guys could probably railroad over there, so we're not immediately losing the front line, and that's pretty cool. Good. On the supply situation, the supplies down here are looking good for the first time. Over here they are looking great as well. It's only really in California itself that we are suffering pretty badly, and that is predominantly due to the infrastructure, which really at this point is quite horrible. Good, okay, so we have broken their lines over here again. I think there were just some reinforcements streaming into towards that area. You guys should also advance. We're being attacked over here, but that's actually good. I like to be attacked in this configuration because it does tell us that they are using some of their supplies. We have Phoenix. How about we attack into here? Let's try that anyway. We don't have a significant advantage here, except that this organization is low. They have 16 divisions. 16 divisions in a single province. Yeah. The Americans are so enormously strong in Hearts of Iron. It can be incredibly frustrating. Okay, more damage being done down here. Don't think I want to attack into here, right? Ooh. Empty province. Empty provinces should always be seized, in my opinion. Do have a tank division up here. But if we were to take our five anti-tank guns, really, I do strongly dislike that the AI is sometimes not utilizing these things a little bit more effectively. Okay, so you should also be AA guns, I think. We should also take a brief look at our logistics tree. So artillery is doing a little bit better than it used to, but still quite horrible. So we should go to production and maybe change out a little bit of our anti-tank guns for anti-air guns. And we are producing more artillery, so that's okay. Let's actually go to 45 down here and then back to 50. So yeah, we are producing a little bit more AA now. That should be okay. Yeah, we have plenty actually at this very second. So we are taking into here primarily to throw them off trail and allow our divisions to come up here unmolested. We should also make sure that something along these lines is happening here. And you know, if we are attacking, we might as well do a probing attack into with a little bit more force over here. So since they too are running low on organization, and it would actually be nice to get a little bit of Nevada due to the enormous steel reserves that are here. So yeah, that would be great. How long will it actually take you to get there? One day. I think we'll make it, so that's great. We have gotten our first units down here, so that's nice because these guys will now be able to stream over there. And that does, all in all, hopefully allow us to get a little bit of a cleaner front line. First divisions have arrived over here, so that should now allow us to attack into this area with some guys. Oh, we are being attacked over here. Well, that's extremely interesting. So we lost that fight up there. We're being counterattacked down here with a lot of forces. I think we should hopefully be reinforcing that position sooner rather than later. Okay, actually we are doing extremely well over here. I would not have anticipated that. Bringing our motorized equipment as well. You actually held out, so that's good to see as well. But down here only leaves one last piece of California to take. And we actually did make it up here. Very good. And we can even drive further down into some bits of California. Let's drive over, sorry, Nevada, of course. Let's drive over there. Let's do attack into here. You're withdrawing. That's curious. Okay, so how does it look? Yeah, we're doing better than they are, so... I mean, their organization seems to be entire, 37. Still, I think we're onto something there. Good. Right, how about these aircraft? You're trying to bomb the West Coast. You have an extremely low mission efficiency, but we can't really get closer, can we? We could dock in the harbor, but I think that would mean that we are withdrawing supplies from there. That's not ideal either. Okay, let's take these two guys who are not fully dock in and try to advance into Northern California. Some nice attacks down here. Wait a minute. You know what? You'll not be able to break through there. But it is nice that we've pushed in our envelope a little bit over there. So that's good. And you will be getting into this last bit of California fairly soon. And that should hopefully allow us 5th of September to repair a little bit of that. Arizona, 5th of December, Baja California being repaired pretty quickly. So that's nice to see. How about the supply situation? 70 out of 53. I think the 53 used to be a lot worse, so that is nice. We're also bringing in some forces now to Nevada, so I think that should also help. You know what? There's no one here now. As I said, if there's an empty province, you better advance into it. Are you being attacked? You are. Interesting. You are going down there. How about we attack into here? It's all mountainous terrain. It's not necessarily a great idea to do so. And they are streaming around a little bit over here, all of these divisions, and all of them don't seem to be necessarily dug in, so let's try. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? Okay, that's Quill's statement. Okay, so a lot of divisions over here, but all of them with very low organization actually, so hopefully this front line is going to collapse fairly quickly before they actually are able to do anything against it. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Also logistics company for an extremely important development for us because of course we are suffering from all of that low organization and other things, so that's great. We are also researching mountain infantry. That is nice. None of these does really give us a lot more. Special forces, no it doesn't. Industry, this is fine. We could do a little bit more construction. I don't think that's critical. Encryption, 69 days. Air, some better naval bombers, not really required now. Naval warfare is all good. Artillery, we could do with some better AA. We are already researching this. So field hospitals would certainly be welcome. Engineering companies too, for the extra entrenchment. 103 days. Let's go for the field hospitals. I think that's great. Right, and let's do keep an eye on the logistics. 58 now, so we are actually close to fulfilling our logistics requirement, and that's certainly a very, very good development here in early September 1945. Speaking of September 1945 and August and this general period, wait a minute, have we been thrown back? I don't think so, right? This is a new province that we've just taken. I think it is. Let's take a second here though. I'm not too sure I appreciate all of your movements. Right, so the issue here is that the front line of course shouldn't be too wide. Okay, that's a good development. You're advancing into there, so that's good. You're pinning these guys actually down while you're advancing along the coast. Brilliant, lovely, I'd like to see that. And you're coming up to Sacramento. Good. And that over there looks vaguely promising. Unfortunately, that position was reinforced and we are now trying to re-establish it. This attack over here, does that mean you've all but exhausted yourself? Apparently not. Stop it, stop it, stop it. We can't really afford useless attacks. Yeah, that's a fairly balanced fight over here actually. But I think it is one that we will win. Especially once you have control of their terrain. I think that should be okay for you. Could likewise try to attack over here. I mean, all of these guys are moving. And sometimes when they are moving, it does mean that they are a little bit vulnerable. Is this still part of California? No. So California is actually doing much better now. And that does mean that at some point we might be getting better infrastructure. And that in turn would mean that at some point we will be getting better or we'll be getting more forces into the war. Let's draw an offensive line for the first army as well. And you know what? I think the second army can lay off some of their responsibilities. And that's okay, and I'm not really sure what this is. Okay, fine, yeah, so that looks much better. And then the first army will take on said responsibilities and be distributing itself over there. Good. So yeah, hopefully that will all again allow us to mainly reclaim a little bit of California for us and repair the infrastructure, because the issue of course is that a lot of the infrastructure is continuously being destroyed over here. Who's actually attacking into there? Is that you? It's you, isn't it? Single division attack, I don't think that's a good idea at all, my friend. Two division attack though. From multiple directions? Not at all. Come on, stop. Okay, yeah, actually need to unpause it. And that's you. Okay, fine, good. Alright. So yeah, we have pushed fairly successfully on some of these places, including Tijuana. We've dealt with some of the supply issues quite nicely, especially over here in California itself. So that should actually allow us to bring in an additional army, maybe even. I think it does allow us to use some of our air forces more aggressively. We can potentially put them up on an air superiority mission, and that should hopefully be pretty good. How are you lacking in the range to cover all of that? You can nearly cover it. You should be fairly fairly modern, I think, so that is good. Rocky Mountains, West Coast. So over the last month, we've been bombed 600 times. They've lost a lot of bombers. A lot of these guys. They haven't really lost any fighters. Then again, we haven't lost any fighters in air battles either. Mostly in accidents. And over here, I think we are pretty sure to hold on to that defense. Nothing really much changing in Central America, but that should be okay. Also, our Marines are slowly but surely getting into position to conduct an invasion of the Caribbean. And we do have our forces in over here, so that does mean, my friends, that we will be trying out to take our naval bombers on a port strike. Why are you not able to do anything? Do I need to get you out to sea? Okay, let's stop you being a strike force. We will come over here, and then we will conduct port strikes on Ibiza, and after that on Cyprus, to see whether they do have any forces over there. And that should be very interesting. That being said, we are way over time, so thank you guys for watching, and I do hope that we will speed it up a little bit in the future, but it's extremely difficult to push against these Americans. They have 3 to 4 times our numbers. They do have a much higher industrial capability, so we do need to be a little bit careful in how exactly we are structuring these attacks. That being said, I'm happy to have you guys with me, so thank you for watching. Until next time, bye bye.